The fascinating story of Parker Schnabel's rise to fame starts with his grandfather, John Schnabel, who was searching for gold in the Klondike in the early 1900s. John's perseverance paid off, and he became a billionaire miner in spite of many obstacles. Parker began mining when he was just 5 years old, motivated by his grandfather. He had established himself as a mining genius and was managing his own claim by the age of 16. However, what is Parker's current net worth? You might be surprised by the response. Thus, the Klondike and the Schnabel narrative began in the early 1900s. In pursuit of that gold fantasy, a young John Schnabel packed his bags and left for the north. It wasn't easy, that much is certain. Those early years were difficult, filled with many setbacks and disappointments. However, John was constructed differently. He persisted, gained experience the hard way, and ultimately achieved success. His skills were honed over decades of mining, making him one of Klondike's most seasoned miners. Because of his perseverance and hard work, John Schnabel was sitting on a multi-million-dollar gold hoard by the time he was older. The tale of Schnabel was far from over. Here comes John's grandson, Parker. Parker essentially soaked up his grandfather's expertise of gold mining like a sponge as a young boy, looking up to him. Parker's innate talent for mining was evident even as a young child. Let's also mention that he was adamant about maintaining the success of the family firm. This love of gold began far earlier than you might think. The history of Parker Schnabel in the gold game begins when he was only 5 years old. Little Parker was allowed to accompany the miners to the mines near Haines, Alaska, by his grandfather John, a mining legend in his own right. Now, most children at that age are obsessed with Legos and cartoons, but Parker was captivated. The noise of the machinery, the dust flying, and most importantly, watching actual gold emerge from the earth. Forget video games, to him, it resembled a treasure hunt in real life. Parker's passion for gold mining only deepened as he grew older. Under his grandfather's careful supervision, he was already operating small excavators and searching for gold by the age of 10. It turns out that Parker was even more adept at spotting gold than other seasoned miners. John made the decision to give Parker a major challenge when he turned 16. He gave Parker a lease on a portion of his own claim, so Parker was in charge of all expenses, earnings, and other matters. Whoa, a 16-year-old operating a mine, many thought. Insane. Parker, however, was not afraid. He assembled a group of local miners, labored tirelessly, and extracted substantial amounts of gold using his magic for detecting gold. Parker Schnabel was soon being referred to as a prodigy, destined to become as legendary as his grandfather, after word of this juvenile mining genius spread like wildfire. Parker was a Yukon gold digging leader by 2012. With his cunning and innovative mining techniques, the man was making a lot of money and surpassing even the most experienced prospectors. Some reality TV shows were interested in this young prodigy and were eager to produce a show about, you guessed it, gold mining. They presented Parker with a crazy notion. Allow a video crew to follow him around for Gold Rush, a brand new Discovery Channel program. Parker, who has always been a businessman and perhaps a bit showman, viewed this as a fantastic chance to grow and share his family's legacy with the globe. Parker agreed after speaking briefly with Grandpa Jean, and Gold Rush was formed. Parker rose to fame from the very first episode. The manner he hustled like no one's business, his youthful enthusiasm, and his intellect full of valuable knowledge captivated the audience. When Gold Rush took off, Parker Schnabel, one of the most attractive young stars in the gold mining industry, became well known. However, he was not at all slowed down by his fame. He intensified his efforts in Porcupine Creek, bringing in a completely new staff and larger, more powerful machinery. Parker became inventive, applied cunning to create brilliant mining techniques, and continued to break his own gold records year after year. By his early 20s, we're talking about bringing in more than 3,000 ounces of gold in one season. Millions of cash, that is. Parker built an empire out of his mining prowess and TV celebrity. He established new standards for extracting the most gold from the earth and making money. Parker transformed from a promising rookie to an elite force, revolutionizing the whole gold mining industry, thanks to Gold Rush and his own indisputable brilliance. But for the Schnabel family, 2016 was a difficult year. Grandpa John, a legend in these gold mines, passed away. At the age of 96, he led a life that most people can only imagine. For Parker, however, losing his greatest ally was more significant than simply losing a hero. Since Parker was a young child, Grandpa John had been there, teaching him everything he knew. Finding that hard-to-catch gold, managing a crew, and reading the land. He had strengthened Parker and given him the strength to cope with this chaotic life of mining. Parker was now standing by himself for the first time since Grandpa had left. Even though it was upsetting, Parker refused to give up because of the fire in his gut. He promised to continue the tradition, making Grandpa John proud, and he wouldn't let him down. After burying Grandpa, Parker assumed control of Schnabel Mine. He had more gold than ever before, bigger digs, and some very serious aspirations. He even acquired a number of new claims throughout the Yukon, including the fabled Eureka Creek, which is said to be the most fertile undeveloped area in the area. Parker was suddenly a mining tycoon, not just a single mine operator. There are several claims dispersed throughout the Yukon. The situation was completely different. He had to mature quickly, have excellent planning skills, and figure out how to keep all these moving pieces in working order. Rents were stacking up, crews were working around the clock, and payroll was soaring. There was pressure. Parker had to be resourceful in order to extract as much value as possible from these claims. In his analysis, he discovered methods to work more efficiently rather than more laboriously. However, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. The entire operation was nearly destroyed by errors, poor hiring decisions, and misplaced equipment. Parker's competitors were circling, waiting for him to make a mistake. However, Parker, the young man who spent his childhood pursuing gold with Grandpa John, is tenacious. He pushed himself harder than ever, strengthened his team, and learned from his failures. Grandpa John's spirit was by his side during all of the difficulties. And because of Parker's perseverance, the Schnabel heritage continued to shine brighter than before. Look, Parker understands. It is important that the Yukon remain a natural and beautiful environment. Parker understood he had to take responsibility even as his mining enterprise blew up. He was aware that he needed to mine wisely in order to preserve this area's beauty for coming generations. Parker so turned into a fervent supporter of environmentally sustainable mining. He made significant investments in specialized filters to prevent contaminated water from contaminating the rivers and expensive equipment to prevent harmful chemicals from leaking out. After mining a location, Parker's crew would clean it up by removing trash and replanting native flora to make it seem more natural. And it did work. Animals began returning to these reclaimed regions because they loved their new environment. Additionally, because Parker is a decent man, he utilized his notoriety to advocate for more sensible mining regulations in the Yukon. He collaborated with the leading authorities to draft legislation that permits responsible mining while simultaneously protecting the environment. As a mentor, he even taught junior miners how to earn money without destroying the area. Parker essentially turned into a one-man operation to demonstrate that mining success stories can coexist with environmental preservation. His mind devised innovative strategies to extract the greatest gold while causing the least amount of long-term harm to the land he cherished. Parker's vision has made it possible for the Yukon's thriving mining economy and its untamed beauty to coexist for many years to come. Parker Schnabel was already a multi-millionaire by the middle of his 20s. Unbelievably, being the star of Gold Rush is mostly responsible for that. Do you remember that show where he seeks for gold in the Yukon and is followed by cameras? He was apparently earning a cool $100,000 every episode. About $2 million a season. But wait. The first nugget in Parker's treasure trove is that. You see, in terms of mining claims, Parker's family really controls half of the Yukon. It resembles their own gold mine monopoly. And they were killing it with Parker in the front. They brought in an incredible 3,500 ounces of gold in one season. Given current prices, that amounts to about $5 million. Imagine that there would be enough gold to fill a bathtub. Parker's mines continue to produce a lot of gold year after year, boosting his already substantial cash account by millions. There's more, though. Parker became a worldwide influencer after starring in Gold Rush. Large corporations handed him endorsement opportunities for anything from apparel labels to insane mining equipment. Parker was suddenly more than just the ruler of the gold fields in the Yukon. He was a rock star on social media. Parker used his notoriety as leverage to make a variety of investments. Real properties, top-notch trucks for navigating the mines, and rental equipment to grow his business. Add it all up. TV money, mining earnings, sponsorships, and astute investments add up to an increasing net worth of about $10 million. Not bad for a boy who first played with his grandfather in the mud, isn't he? However, Parker maintains a low profile, in contrast to certain ostentatious millionaires you may see online. He stays near the activity by living in functional housing in his mining camps. His operation is even more spectacular because the majority of his money is reinvested in the company. However, even millionaires need to indulge themselves from time to time. Parker has a great place back in Alaska. A timber cabin that looks like it belongs in a magazine on a 45-acre estate. Imagine a rustically charming mansion with comfortable furnishings and breathtaking views of the mountains. After a long season, this is the ideal spot to unwind. Don't worry about a dull garage either. There is an entire toy store in Parker's. Top-tier vehicles, ATVs, and everything else he needs to explore those mines in style are all on the table. Parker, meanwhile, is not a one-estate type of person. He has an active real estate portfolio. There is a vacation rental property in the Yukon area and a commercial facility in Haines, Alaska for some additional cash. It appears that Parker is creating his own little business. Speaking of empires, let's discuss his collection of automobiles. It would be enough to envy any gearhead. Our Ford Raptor, the ultimate off-road vehicle, is ideal for tearing up the Yukon. The Mercedes G-Wagon comes next. Complete luxury for more comfortable journeys. Are you feeling vintage? Parker's Jeep Wrangler is a real miner's vehicle, and his customized Chevy Silverado is even more fantastic. He is a car enthusiast. They are the ideal combination of excellent quality and adventure readiness. Furthermore, they most likely won't mind handling a lot of mud. In addition to all of that, his mining operation is kept in good working order by a large fleet of trucks and heavy machinery. Nowadays, Parker enjoys taking his opulent fishing boat out or embarking on some amazing global travels when he does have some free time. There are countless options. The best part, though, comes after. Parker is more than just himself. He looks after those who brought him here. Sometimes he treats his devoted team to opulent trips. And in recognition of their diligence, he gives them enormous bonuses. Without a doubt, Parker's kindness is not limited to his personnel. He still remembers his home state of Alaska. Giving back to the communities that helped him get here is really important to him. He donates a sizable portion of his gold income each season to child sports, animal shelters, local charities, and more. He even assists veterans organizations. The winters in Alaska are harsh. Long, gloomy, and occasionally without power. For those who cannot afford expensive generators, that can be difficult. Therefore, Parker offers his time to build affordable housing and deliver goods to seniors and families in need of a little additional support when he isn't mining. But Parker is doing more than just providing food and warmth, he is also making investments in Alaska's future. Parker even established a scholarship fund at his former high school. He wants to give other young people a head start in fields that are really valuable in Alaska, like engineering or mechanics. In essence, he is assisting others and encouraging the next generation to follow their own aspirations. Although Parker is incredibly skilled at locating gold, it is not everything to him. This guy has many other interests while he's not working in a mine. His family's mining heritage is the subject of a number of his best-selling books. Parker is an avid traveler as well. He has visited sweltering South American jungles and historic European ruins. This guy is an adventurer. When he's not traveling the world, you may find him fishing, hunting, or simply trekking in the mountains in Alaska. His happy spot is in nature. The man is also a history buff. He finds old mining implements and other items fascinating. He gathers them in the same manner as certain baseball card collectors. Even when the mining becomes frantic, Parker is able to maintain equilibrium and relax because to all of these pastimes keeps him rooted and prepared to destroy it once more. Parker is over 30 years old, yet his passion for gold is stronger than ever. This guy isn't satisfied with the Yukon alone. A global mining empire is what he aspires to. British Columbia is the next destination. There, Parker's crew is searching for hidden gems, and he is also keeping an eye on the Northwest Territories. His sights are set on South America, Australia, Africa, and pretty much any place with glistening subterranean structures. But greater gold isn't the only goal. In order to dig smarter, not harder, Parker and his team are developing innovative new technology. Imagine lasers, robots, and the entire sci-fi mining package. All in an effort to obtain that gold with little environmental damage. How about a win-win situation? Even though Parker is currently living the dream, he is already planning for the future. You know, the Schnabel legacy? Like her uncle, his niece Amelia appears to have a strong interest in mining. Parker wants to preserve this a family business for many years to come, and he has been teaching her the ropes. Parker may eventually pull back from the day-to-day grind, concentrate on the big picture, and perhaps embark on some new experiences. More time for amazing travel and to enjoy all that hard-earned gold, too, isn't that right? It sounds like a really nice retirement strategy. What is Parker's next course of action? One thing is certain, though, Parker Schnabel is bound for success regardless of the wild adventure he decides on next. Do you recall the young child that was taught by the mining legends? He has become an icon in his own right. Parker created his own way, crushed it, and used all he had learned from the old-timers. And you know what? Perhaps the best is still to come. There's no slowing down for this titan of Yukon gold mining. Parker Schnabel's next chapter is going to be incredible, so fasten your seatbelt.